Hello dear students, welcome back to your English class. Let us do today with the third chapter of your supplementary reader, that is Iswaran, the storyteller, written by R.K. Lakshman. So before I start the chapter, let me give you a short introduction, a brief introduction, alright. So this is a story, that involves the life of a young man named Mahindra, you will find in the chapter, and his domestic helper, okay, whom we call as a servant, which is actually a negative word. I would also, want each one of you that never use such type of terminology like servant and all. They are domestic helper, all right. Okay, so this story involves the life of this young man Mahindra and his domestic helper named Iswaran. Now, Iswaran was a good storyteller, and he entertains his master by narrating stories to him. And those stories which Iswaran narrates were packed with adventure, horror, and suspense. One day it so happened that Iswaran narrated stories relating to ghosts and told Mahindra that he had seen ghosts. And the very same night, Mahindra felt that he also saw a ghost. And as a result, Mahindra decides to leave that place wherever they were, okay, we will see in the chapter, to leave that particular place the very next day, all right. So it's all about the, the time, the moments which is shared between these two. One is Mahindra, the other one is Iswaran. Now let us go to the text, go to the chapter, okay. So Mahindra was a junior supervisor in a firm which offered on hire supervisors at different sites, okay. So Mahindra was working as a supervisor in an organization, and this organization, basically what they used to do is that they used to hire supervisor for different sites, for different locations. And Mahindra was a bachelor, and there was a cook named Iswaran, who was very much attached to Mahindra. Iswaran cooked for him, washed his clothes, and also performed other household chores as well, okay. And at the same time, Iswaran was a good storyteller also. And most of the stories that Iswaran used to narrate were full of surprise and thrill. And moreover, the way Iswaran used to describe the stories, that were completely fine, his descriptions were really fine. In fact, Iswaran, he narrated the smallest incident very minutely, in detail, okay. So it was basically, I would say that yes, the stories were interesting, that which he used to narrate, and it, as it comprises of surprise, thrill, many various moments and all, various emotions. But most importantly, it was Iswaran's style of describing those stories, it was his style of narrating those things, that is what used to be very much interesting, or used to attract the interest of the listener. Iswaran would work up in suspense and suddenly at a surprising end, which makes it a kind of a curious, it arouses a kind of a curiosity to the listener, okay. He would generally add a suspense to his story, and suddenly he will end the story. Surprise. He will add a suspense and give it a surprise ending. He was very imaginative, Iswaran. And even Mahindra also enjoyed his stories. Iswaran told him a story of a mad tusker, okay. Tusker, who has got a tusk? Which animal has got a tusk? Elephant, right? So once Iswaran told him a story of a mad tusker, and like the scene was such that this particular elephant entered a school ground, okay, and the students, they started hiding in their classrooms. The teachers climbed up to the terrace, and Iswaran was there in that particular school. He was a junior student, and what he did to control the elephant was, he took a stick and controlled the elephant all alone. So such type of stories he used to narrate to Iswaran. And one day Iswaran told Mahindra that how sometimes, he even saw ghosts at night. Mahindra used to call Iswaran a crazy fellow by listening to his stories, because his stories were generally of such type. So Mahindra tried to convince Iswaran that there is no ghost, nothing as such. It was just his imagination, okay, and there was nothing like ghost in this world. But no matter, Mahindra tried to convince Iswaran, but Mahindra himself was afraid now by listening to the ghost story of Iswaran. And from that day onwards, Mahindra went to his room with a certain uneasiness, okay, because in his mind he had that particular story of Iswaran, which Iswaran described about the ghost. And Mahindra's mind was surrounded by fearful thoughts. And one night it so happened that he was woken up by a kind of a low moan, close to his window, a low sound, okay, moaning sound. And when he saw outside, there was a ghost. He was frightened. He broke into a kind of, his body became cold, like lifeless, okay, and he was sweating. It was a kind of a cold sweat, and he fell down back on his pillow. However, he thought that it might be a kind of an auto suggestion, it might be a kind of a trick. But again, the very next morning, Iswaran reminded Mahindra that the previous night, when Mahindra was afraid, okay, when Mahindra, as I told you, Mahindra heard some sound out of his window, and the very next morning now Iswaran is giving a kind of a reminder to Mahindra that he had heard someone moaning outside the window, okay, and he told him that he had come running to his room after hearing the moans. Now again Mahindra felt chill, kind of, like there was a fear in his mind and whole body, and he ran to his office, Mahindra, and the very moment he decided to leave that place immediately, wherever he was being posted. All right. So see, just the way this Iswaran narrated the story had so much of impact on Mahindra. And at the same time, there is one more thing that we learn from this chapter, is that most of us do not have a clear idea about supernatural things like ghosts and all. Some people may believe it, while some may not believe it also. But each one of us, we have a secret fear of ghosts, okay, which we may not admit, which we may not show it, that, okay. But in this story, when Iswaran tells Mahindra about the presence of ghosts, though Mahindra initially did not accept it, and Mahindra tried to convince Iswaran that there is nothing like ghosts, but later on what happened? Mahindra himself seems to experience the presence of ghosts, right? And as a result, he decided to leave that particular job location there and then. So this lesson gives a message that there might be certain things in this world that is beyond our understanding, okay. I hope you got this story, the chapter. So with this we come to the conclusion of this chapter. Please go through the text. I am saying again and after. Going through the text is very important, each and every word, alright. So in case, like, if you have any more doubt after reading the text, or if you don't understand, please don't, I mean, sorry, please get back to me. That's what I mean to say. Not that don't get back to me. You may get back to me any moment, anytime. All right. Take care. Study well.